The bold and the beautiful latest twist shocks everyone. Hope's wedding ends in scandal as Finn drops a bombshell. The grand wedding between Hope Logan and Carter Walton was set to be one of the most elegant and anticipated ceremonies Los Angeles had seen in years. Dressed in a flowing gown of ivory lace, Hope stood beneath a cascade of white roses, her hand trembling lightly in Carter's. The venue shimmered with glass crystal chandeliers, golden accents, and every member of the Forresters and Logans dressed to the nines. The music played softly, and the officiant prepared to unite the couple in holy matrimony. Everything seemed perfect, almost too perfect. Then the doors burst open. All heads turned. Dr. John Finn Finnegan stood at the entrance, disheveled and wild-eyed. In his hand, he held a crumpled enveloping ultrasound photo barely visible through his clenched fingers. His chest heaved with adrenaline as he marched straight down the aisle, eyes fixed not on Carter, but on Hope. The room went silent. Even the soft strings of the wedding music stopped. "Hope is pregnant with my child," Finn shouted, voice echoing like thunder through the hall. Gasps erupted like explosions. Brooke Logan's hand flew to her mouth. Carter took a step back, blindsided. Ridge Forrester shot up from his seat, face contorted in disbelief and fury. "What the hell are you doing, Finn?" he roared. Hope stood frozen. Tears welled in her eyes as she turned away, hands covering her face, shoulders trembling. The entire wedding stopped in an instant. Flowers, vows, champagne meaningless now. What no one had seen coming was that Hope and Finn had a secret. It wasn't just a one-time slip or an emotional affair. This was something deeper, darker, and much more dangerous. Months earlier, Hope had begun experiencing fainting spells, nausea, and fatigue. She assumed it was just stress balancing motherhood, her fashion line, and her complicated love life. So she went in for a private checkup. The only doctor she trusted was Finn. He had always been kind, discreet, and trustworthy. But what started as a medical consultation turned into stolen moments. Steffy had left Finn, taking the kids and heading to Europe. Finn was lonely, hollowed out by heartbreak, and Hope she was tired of always coming second to the men in her life. She was tired of being the good girl, the one who followed the rules. She wanted comfort, and Finn was there. They leaned on each other first emotionally, then physically. It wasn't supposed to mean anything. At least that's what they told themselves. But something grew between them, faster than either expected. Then the pregnancy test came back positive. Hope was terrified. She couldn't bear the idea of becoming a Brooke 2.0, a woman whose desires wrecked other people's marriages. She remembered vividly how her mother had destroyed Ridge and Taylor's family. She didn't want that legacy. So she made a decision. She would keep the pregnancy quiet, marry Carter, and raise the child in a stable home, even if it meant burying the truth forever. But Finn had other plans. He couldn't stand by and watch the woman he loved marry another man while carrying his child. Not when the child was the only thing anchoring him to a future after Steffy. He had already lost his wife. He wasn't going to lose his child, too. So he waited until the moment that would change everything. The wedding. Now in front of everyone, Forresters, Logans, and guests who had no idea they were about to witness history. Finn made his stand. And it was chaos. Carter was crushed. The betrayal hit like a freight train. Just moments before, he had believed he was gaining a wife and possibly a family. Now he realized he had been nothing but a cover-up, a placeholder for someone else's truth. His expression was a mix of anger and heartbreak as he turned away from Hope. Brooke ran to her daughter's side, whispering fiercely, "Is it true? Hope, tell me it's not true." Hope could barely breathe. The weight of the truth finally cracked through her silence. She nodded slowly, whispering, "Yes, it's true. I'm pregnant and it's Finn's." The murmurs in the audience grew louder. Donna and Katie exchanged stunned glances. Eric sat down, shaking his head in disbelief. Even Liam, who had kept his distance from Hope recently, looked like someone had just punched the air out of him. And then came Ridge. How could you do this? He demanded, pointing at Finn. You were supposed to be Steffi's husband. You were part of this family. You threw it all away for this. Finn didn't flinch. I didn't plan it, Ridge. I didn't want to fall for Hope. But it happened. And I won't apologize for wanting to be a father to my child. Steffy hadn't returned to LA yet, but it was only a matter of time before the news reached her. And when it did, the fallout would be nuclear. In the aftermath of the ruined ceremony, everything unraveled. Hope disappeared from the venue, seeking shelter at Brooke's house. Carter didn't go home. He drove all night, away from the city, away from the lies. Meanwhile, Finn attempted to reach Hope, but she wouldn't return his calls. Despite everything, she still wrestled with guilt. She had destroyed not just a wedding, but families, reputations, futures. What made it worse was that a part of her still loved Carter, his stability, his quiet strength, the way he never judged her. But that wasn't enough anymore. Not now. Not when the life growing inside her had a different father. And Finn. He didn't stop fighting. He showed up at Brooke's the next day. He pleaded with Hope to talk, to consider what their child meant, not just to him, but to her. We made a mistake, he said. But that child isn't a mistake. That child deserves two parents who love them. Hope looked at him, exhausted. And what about Steffy? Do you think she's just going to disappear? Do you think she forgive either of us? Finn shook his head. I don't care if she forgives me. I care about doing right by my child. The pregnancy progressed, and the drama only escalated. Rich tried to take control, urging Finn to leave LA to avoid further disgrace. Brooke begged Hope to let Carter raise the child as his own to avoid the media circus that would inevitably follow. But neither Finn nor Hope could ignore the truth any longer. Whispers spread through the fashion world. Forrester Creations faced backlash. Clients began pulling out. The scandal had gone public, and with it, the company's reputation began to crack. Thomas, torn between supporting his sister and his long-lost love for Hope, found himself once again at a crossroads. Eventually, Steffy returned. The showdown between her and Hope was explosive. Slaps were exchanged. Words like homewrecker and betrayal were screamed across the room. But Steffy saved her most cutting words for Finn. You didn't just cheat on me, she spat, eyes blazing. You destroyed everything we built. You chose her, daughter of the woman who tore my parents apart. Finn tried to explain. It wasn't about revenge or repeating history. It was real. And I'm sorry. Steffy looked at him like he was a stranger. Don't be sorry for me. Be sorry for the child who's going to grow up in the middle of this mess. In the end, there were no winners. Only shifting allegiances, broken trust, and a new reality none of them were prepared for. Hope remained determined to give her child a peaceful life, even if that meant doing it alone. But Finn wasn't going anywhere. He promised to be there for every ultrasound, every late-night craving, every heartbeat. Whether Hope let him into her heart again or not, he would be a father. And not just any father. A present, passionate, unrelenting one. As for Carter, he returned to the office a changed man. No longer the easygoing romantic, but colder, harder, more guarded. The betrayal had carved something out of him that may never fully heal. The fallout from that wedding day would ripple through the lives of the Forresters, the Logans, and the Spencers for months, maybe years. And as always in the bold and the beautiful, love may be the driving force, but secrets are what destroy everything. Steffy Forrester was just days away from delivering her own life-changing news. After months in Europe rebuilding her life and healing from her last brush with heartbreak, she had finally found some clarity. Her time away from Los Angeles had given her space from the constant family wars and emotional landmines. And now, standing in front of a mirror with her hand on her barely showing baby bump, she was ready to come home and tell her husband, Finn, that they were going to be parents again. But the joy she had carefully held in her heart shattered the second she opened her phone and saw the headlines. Wedding bombshell, Finn crashed Hope and Carter's ceremony reveals he's the father of her baby. Steffy froze. Her hands trembled. Her mouth went dry. The room around her seemed to tilt and blur. No, this wasn't possible. Not Finn. Not her husband. The man who had cried when she left. The man who had begged for one more chance. The man who promised that no matter what happened, his heart belonged to her. And Hope. Of all people, Hope Logan, the daughter of Brooke, the woman who had once torn Ridge and Taylor apart. Steffy had sworn she'd never let history repeat itself, but here it was. Not even masked. Just a carbon copy of the pain her mother endured, now shoved in her face, headline by headline. In a blur, Steffy packed her things and boarded the next flight back to Los Angeles. The moment she landed, she headed straight for the cliff house of their home. But Finn wasn't there. Only silence. Then came the knock on the door. Hope stood there. She didn't speak at first. She looked pale, broken, guilty. But Steffy didn't give her the chance to explain. You slept with my husband, Steffy said, voice like steel. You looked me in the eyes for years and smiled, and then you went behind my back and did this. Hope didn't deny it. I didn't plan it. I didn't want it to happen. But I'm pregnant, Steffy. And I can't change that. You didn't want it to happen, Steffy scoffed. You'll let it happen. You made a choice. You chose to destroy my marriage. Hope's eyes filled with tears. I didn't destroy your marriage. You left, Steffy. You walked away from Finn. You created the space. And I don't you dare blame this on me, Steffy snapped. You sound just like your mother. Always justifying betrayal because of some emotional excuse. You wanted Finn, and now you got him. Congratulations. Before Hope could respond, Finn arrived. The moment his eyes met Steffy's, guilt washed over his face. He reached for her, but she stepped back like he was poison. I was going to tell you, he said softly. Tell me, Steffy barked. When? After the baby was born. After you married Hope, I didn't want it to be like this. I didn't mean to hurt you, but you did. You destroyed us. And that was when Finn said the words that made Steffy's blood run cold. I'm filing for divorce. Silence fell. Steffy blinked, stunned. You're leaving me. I've already left, he said. The moment I slept with Hope, I broke the vows I made to you. I can't pretend we're still whole. I love Hope. I want to be with her and I want to be a father to our child, openly. Not in secret. Not as a side story. I owe them that. Steffy's voice cracked. And what about our child? Finn's eyes widened. What? I'm pregnant too, Finn, she whispered. You are going to be a father again. But now I don't even want your name on the birth certificate. The words hit him like a punch. His knees buckled, and for the first time, he saw the cost of his actions. Not just the scandal, not just the headlines, but the reality. 2 families broken, 2 children who would grow up in chaos. Still, he didn't go back on his decision. The divorce moved quickly, too quickly for Steffy to process. Ridge was furious, but powerless. Taylor returned briefly to support her daughter, railing against Brooke, against Hope, against anyone who could listen. Logan's defended Hope, insisting she wasn't a villain. But public opinion was merciless. Hope and Finn moved in together, attempting to build a new life. They went to doctor appointments hand in hand. He kissed her belly at night. They tried to pretend it was a fresh start, but the whispers never stopped. Hope could feel the judgment every time she walked into Forrester Creations. Her team tiptoed around her. Her designs were quietly removed from the next runway show. Even her father, Deacon, urged her to lay low. The spotlight wasn't just hot, it was scalding. And Finn. He tried to hold it all together. He supported Hope. He built the nursery. He showed up. But late at night, he stared at the ceiling, wondering if he had made a mistake he could never take back. Because the truth was, Hope wasn't Steffy. She didn't challenge him or ground him the way Steffy did. Their connection, once thrilling and full of heat, started to feel hollow under the weight of real life. The baby was real. The pressure was real. The love. He wasn't sure anymore. Hope saw it too. She watched him drift. She heard the silence. She felt the space between them growing wider by the day. "You don't look at me the same," she said one night. "I'm just tired," Finn replied. "No," she said. "You regret it? You regret choosing me?" He didn't answer. Because deep down, maybe he did. As the months passed, things unraveled further. Hope gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, and for a brief moment, there was joy. Finn held his daughter and felt the rush of love. But when he looked at Hope, he didn't see a future anymore. He saw everything that had been lost. Meanwhile, Steffi delivered a healthy son. She named him Gabriel and raised him on her own with fierce independence. She refused to be pitied. She took over the company's European division, focused on growth, on healing, on her kids. And when Finn tried to reach out, twice blocked his number. By the end of that year, the question wasn't whether Hope and Finn would live happily ever after. It was whether their relationship had ever been built on love at all, or just on escape, loneliness, and guilt. Because in the world of the bold and the beautiful, love is never simple, and betrayal never fades quietly. And as Steffi once told Hope, when you break a family to build a fantasy, don't be surprised when the whole thing falls apart.